Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivala Dali. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Shtutara Shata Shishimat, His Divine Grace, A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kahoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radha Kunda Shyama Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Amuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Gora Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Padaya Shrimad Krishna Skasumati Namo Vishnu Kasha Prabhupada Preta Siddhani Shtanta Sevak Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Padaya Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Sarniti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishma Deva, and today is text number 27. Dana Dharman Raja Dharman Moksha Dharman Vibhagashaha Stri Dharman Bhagavat Dharman Samasa Vyasa Yogataha Dana Dharman Raja Dharman Moksha Dharman Vibhagashaha Stri Dharman Bhagavat Dharman Samasa Vyasa Yogataha. Vaishnavas. This. Dana Dharman, the acts of charity. Raja Dharman, pragmatic activities of the kings. Moksha Dharman, the acts for salvation. Vibhagashaha, by divisions. Stri Dharman, duties of women. Bhagavad Dharman, the acts of the devotees. Samasa, generally. Vyasa, explicitly. Yogataha, by means of. Translation. He then explained by divisions, acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. So please repeat. He then explained by divisions, acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. Purport. To give charity is one of the householder's main functions, and he should be prepared to give in charity at least 50% of his hard-earned money. A brahmachari or student should perform sacrifices, a householder should give charity, and a person in the retired life or in the renounced order should practice penances and austerities. Those are the general functions of all the ashramas or orders of life on the path of self-realization. In the brahmachari life, the training is sufficiently imparted so that one may understand that the world as property belongs to the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. No one, therefore, can claim to be the proprietor of anything in the world. Therefore, in the life of a householder, which is a sort of license for sex enjoyment, one must give in charity for the service of the Lord. Everyone's energy is generated or borrowed from the reservoir of energy of the Lord. Therefore, the resultant actions of such energy must be given to the Lord in the shape of transcendental loving service for Him. As the rivers draw water from the sea through the clouds and again go down to the sea, similarly, our energy is borrowed from the Supreme Source, the Lord's energy, and it must return to the Lord. That is the perfection of our energy. The Lord, therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 9.27 says that whatever we do, whatever we undergo as penance, whatever we sacrifice, whatever we eat, or whatever we give in charity, must be offered to Him, the Lord. That is the way of utilizing our borrowed energy. When our energy is utilized in that way, our energy is purified from the contamination of material inebrieties, and thus we become fit for our original, natural life of service to the Lord. Jaz samo eno vprašanje imam, Nanta Prabhu, ki je izredno dolg komentar tukaj. In je toliko teh point. Kakšno prakso imate? A kar preberem cel komentar in pač povem čist malo o vsakem, ali bi se ustavila tu pri tem komentarju in se bolj poglobila pri tem paragrafu in se bolj poglobila v to, pa bi potem mogoče naslednjič. Aha, po želji, ok. Pa bi pa... Okay, so maybe I will stop here for now, because there are such very important and very deep points in this purport. So if I would just read the entire purport and then just say a little bit about everything, I think it can be said so much more. So I will just say something about this first paragraph, and we'll see if I can go to the next also. And then the next person tomorrow, maybe they can continue. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandiham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchanga Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, thank you very much for opportunity to say something on these wonderful verses, wonderful topics of Bhishma Deva's teachings. And I beg for your blessings so that I may say something that will be of value and it will be encouraging and inspiring for all of us. So, this first paragraph describes the dana dharma. And dana means charity. So dana dharma actually means the duties of giving charity. And the explanation that Srila Prabhupada is giving here, it is so deep, so that I would like to go a little deeper into this, because if we just understand this one point, which is explained here by Srila Prabhupada, we will become really Krishna conscious and really advance in our spiritual life very, very fast. So it's worth taking a little time and going a little deeper. So here at first, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that the main duty of the householder is to give charity. And here he makes a very drastic statement. He says that grihastas should be prepared to give in charity at least 50% of their hard-earned money. But this is really a lot. And usually when people hear this, they become terrified. What? 50%? Especially here in Slovenia. Most of the people, even devotees, actually are quite poor. So most of people don't have so much money. And there are some who have a lot of money. So for those who don't have much, it's actually really difficult. Basically, they cannot, because they barely meet the end. So they barely have enough money to pay the bills. So for those, they actually really are not able to do so. But for those who have extra income, so their income allows them to have some extra, they should definitely follow this very strictly. And why is this so? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, we have Prahlad Maharaj explaining these things. And he says, Nate vidusvarta gatim hi vishnum durashaya ye bahir artamaninaha andayatandar upaniyamanas tepishatantram urudam nibada. And thank you. So this verse means that normal people, normal family people, normal householders in this world, their mind is bad, which means that they consider the goal of life to be sense gratification, to be enjoying their senses, and they consider the different objects of the senses, different pleasurable things in this world to be very valuable, very important. So they divert all of their energy into obtaining these objects and then to gratify themselves. But they are not aware that the highest goal of life is Lord Vishnu. And the shelter of his lotus feet. They don't know that. And this is why they are following other leaders who are also bewildered in the same way, who consider the goal of life to be material enjoyment. And therefore, they are all together. They are like falling into a ditch, we could say. They are falling into a ditch. But what this actually practically mean? That means that they become bound up by the 3 modes of material nature because they are addicted to fruitive action. they are only working hard day and night to obtain some money so that they can buy things, so that they can gratify their senses. And because of that, they are bound up and they have to suffer continuously threefold miseries. So this is the reality of this world. Majority of the people are captured in this way. And on the other side, also Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishne paratah svatova mito bipadyeta griha vratanam ananta kubir vishatam patamishram punah punashchar vitacharananam. So this is also one very, very famous verse. And Prahlad Maharaj is pointing out here that Matirna Krishna, that inclination towards Krishna, that favorable attitude toward Krishna, that attraction toward Krishna is not going to awaken in the hearts of such people. Not even if they get advice of other people, not even if they are endeavoring themselves, it will not happen. It will not happen for them. Why it will not happen for them? Because they are completely unable to control their senses, and because of not controlling their senses, they are gliding down into hell. And what is the hell? Again, the hell is they have to suffer under the jurisdiction of the three modes of material nature. They have to suffer perpetually the sufferings of this material world. So this is the situation of a normal person in this world. And this is also related to the idea that we, as people here in this world, are the enjoyers and the proprietors of everything that we can see, of everything that we survey. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyatvamam shantim richati. Krishna declares that it is He only who is the enjoyer. Only He. It is He who enjoys all our endeavors, all our hard work, all our austerities. Whatever we do, it is meant for His enjoyment. He is the enjoyer. He is supposed to enjoy that. And He is the one who is the proprietor of everything, of all the planetary systems, of the whole universe, of the demigods, of us, of everybody. He is the proprietor. Of course, He's also the friend of everyone. And if somebody understands this truth, he can become peaceful. Otherwise not. And this is why in the Vedic system, as Srila Prabhupada is here describing, we have the Varnashrama system, which starts with the Brahmacharya. Why is Brahmachari life so extremely important? And this is explained by Narada Muni, also in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmachari guru kule vasandanto gurorhitam acharan dasanam nicho gaura guruva surida saurida. So this verse is explaining that Brahmachari must go to live in a Gurukula. And Gurukula is an ashram. What does ashram means? Ashram is a place which is dedicated to spiritual life, to cultivation of spiritual life and spiritual knowledge. So Brahmachari must live in the ashram of his guru. And now, here are very important functions. What is he taught there? Vasan danto guror hitam. Danto means that he is practicing to control his senses. This is very important aspect of brahmacharya life. Brahmachari has to train himself again and again and again to control his senses and control his mind, control his senses. And at the same time, gurur hitam. Gurur hitam means that he has to work only for the benefit of his guru. So brahmachari has to work very hard, and brahmacharis that live in the ashram, that live in the temple, they know this very well. It's hard work. Brahmacharis, almost every day, they have to go out. They have to go out, they have to go in Sankirtan or Harinam or Prasadam distribution. They have to go out preaching. They have to approach people who are unwilling to accept Krishna consciousness and try to give them in some way. And they also accept gifts. When they distribute books, they get some Lakshmi for this, some money for this. And but this they don't take for themselves. They have to bring back to the ashram and they have to give. So now in the Vedic system, the ashram was small. So the guru was the head of the ashram and they gave directly to the guru. Everything they collected, they gave to the guru. Of course, when brahmacharis live in the temple, then they give to the temple commander, and it goes to the temple. How you say the temple collection. So it's then meant for the deity worship and the functions of the operations of the entire ashram and the entire temple. But the main point here is that the brahmachari is trained with his practical work and also with philosophy, that he is not the enjoyer, he is not the controller, that his guru, who is the representative of the Supreme Lord, is the one who is to take all the results of his hard work, that he is not meant to enjoy the results of his hard work. So this is what one is learning when he is in the brahmachari ashram. And if a brahmachari is successful in his training, then he can move on from this ashram to a sannyas ashram. Because he does not need to go to the grihastha ashram, because he has understood. He has understood very deeply, he has imbibed, internalized this knowledge, and he understands that his only duty is to serve his guru, to serve Krishna, to completely dedicate his life only to serving Guru and Krishna. And he becomes detached from material life, he becomes detached from material sense enjoyment. However, if brahmachari is not, we could say like 100%, if he did not imbibe 100% this training and knowledge, then he is allowed to take another ashram, grihastha ashram. And this ashram is also very respectable ashram, very valuable ashram, because grihasthas actually are the ones who are maintaining the entire society. The grihastha ashram is maintaining the entire society. So it has a very essential role in the entire society. But here it comes, dana. Grihasthas must be willing to give charity, because through charity they maintain the other three ashrams. Grihasthas must give charity to the brahmacharis, grihasthas must give charity to vanaprasthas, and especially to sannyasis. And in this way, they maintain them. And as they are maintaining the 3 other ashramas, they share in the spiritual advancement and in the austerities that the 3 other ashrams are performing, the people in other ashrams are performing, and they also share in their spiritual advancement. So even if Grihastha himself is not able to perform so many austerities, or is not able to do so much study, by giving charity, he can advance very nicely in spiritual life. And also, one other thing is very important, that why it's important that even Grihasthas go through the Brahmachari ashram. It is essential, because if Grihastha did not have a Brahmachari training, then he is in great danger. What is the danger? The danger is just what I described in the beginning, the uncontrolled senses. Because in the Grihastha ashram, all the allurement is there. It is, like you're invited to a big feast. A big feast. But actually, you're not supposed to eat. So how would you do this? You cannot do this if you're not able to control your senses. So Grihasthas who have been successful in their Brahmachari training, they become very good Grihasthas. They become exemplary Grihasthas. And who is exemplary Grihastha? Exemplary Grihastha is one who can control his senses and who has understood that Krishna is the only enjoyer and the proprietor, and that even in Grihastha ashram, his main duty is to serve Guru and Krishna through all his work, even through the economic development. Right? How he can serve Guru and Krishna through economic development? In this way that he earns enough money so that he can give charity, so that he can give 50% of his income in charity. So that's his main dharma. Very important for Grihasthas to understand this. So now that I'm a devotee, therefore, I will not work. I will just go and I will get social benefits. I'll just get the government will support me. I don't have to work. No. Grihastha must engage in economic development, and he must endeavor to have a very good earning. And when he has very good earning, he can actually maintain the entire society, the 3 other ashramas. It's very important. And then there is very nice cooperation and synergy between the 4 ashramas. And it's all maintained by Grihastha. So very important. So, okay, Panchatattva will appear now. Shishi Panchatattva ki jai, Shishi Gurnitai ki jai. So then, when Grihastha is working in such a way, then his spiritual advancement is very swift. It's very swift. He knows, my family, it's not meant for my enjoyment. I'm living in an ashram. My family, my home, is meant for cultivating spiritual life, and I'm dedicating my activities to my spiritual life. So Grihastha also, how can Grihastha control his senses? One very important point. Grihastha can control his senses by adopting a lifestyle of a devotee. And lifestyle of a devotee is early morning rising and having a morning program, even as a Grihastha. It is possible, it is doable, and some Grihasthas are showing that this works. It is possible. It is possible to do. It may be a little bit adjusted program, so may not be such a long morning program as brahmacharis have in the temple, but at least 1-2 hours every morning is possible, of course, if a grihasta can get up very early. And he can get up very early if he goes to bed early. And this brings us to the lifestyle of a devotee grihasta in the evening. What does a grihasta devotee do in the evening? He gets together with the family, with other friends, other devotees, and they have some kirtan, they have some Krishna katha, some little prasadam, and in this way they enjoy life. This is enjoyment, this is entertainment, this is so pleasurable. And in this way, deeper relationships are being developed among the devotees, among the grihastas. They connect with each other in a very deep way, because we can develop very deep, friendly relationships with each other when we are coming together with Krishna in the center. So during the day, most of us, we are busy with different duties that we have. Everybody has different duties. Even in the temple, the brahmacharis, they have to do their work, whatever is there to do. But then there is a time when we can come together, and especially for grihastas who live at home, and have this, they can create such a very nice, pleasant, relaxed atmosphere at home. And then when the friends come also, they have nice, friendly discussions. They read together Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and then discuss. They share their realizations, they share their struggles, and those who are more experienced, more realized, they give advice, they give support to those who are struggling. And in a very natural way, everyone gets the support that one needs. And in this way gets so much spiritual strength and becomes very determined then to go to bed early and to get up early in the morning. So this is grihasta life. This is grihasta lifestyle. So now I will continue and I will read the next paragraph about Raja Dharma, and then I will say a few words about that also. And then we can have some discussion on both topics. Raja Dharma is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy, for political supremacy. The kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely be tax collectors. They were trained to perform different sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subjects. To lead the prajas to the attainment of salvation was a great duty of the king. The father, the spiritual master, and the king are not to become irresponsible in the matter of leading their subjects to the path of ultimate liberation from birth, death, diseases, and old age. When these primary duties are properly discharged, there is no need of government of the people by the people. In modern days, the people in general occupy the administration by the strength of manipulated votes, but they are never trained in the primary duties of the king, and that is also not possible for everyone. Under the circumstances, the untrained administrators play havoc to make the subjects happy in all respects. On the other hand, these untrained administrators gradually become rogues and thieves and increase the taxation to finance a top-heavy administration that is useless for all purposes. Actually, the qualified brahmanas are meant to give direction to the kings for proper administration in terms of the scriptures like the Manu Samhita and Dharma Shastras of Parashara. A typical king is the ideal of the people in general. And if the king is pious, religious, chivalrous, and munificent, the citizens generally follow him. Such a king is not a lazy, sensuous person living at the cost of the subjects, but alert always to kill thieves and dacoits. The pious kings were not merciful to dacoits and thieves in the name of nonsensical ahimsa, non-violence. The thieves and dacoits were punished in an exemplary way so that in the future no one would dare commit such nuisances in an organized form. Such thieves and dacoits were never meant for administration as they are now. The taxation law was simple. There was no force, no encroachment. The king had a right to take 1/4 of the production made by the subject. The king had a right to claim 1/4 of one's allotted wealth. One would never grudge parting with it because due to the pious king and religious harmony, there was enough natural wealth, namely grains, fruits, flowers, silk, cotton, milk, jewels, minerals, etc. And therefore no one was materially unhappy. The citizens were rich in agriculture and animal husbandry, and therefore they had enough grains, fruits, and milk without any artificial needs of soaps and toilets, cinemas, and bars. The king had to see that the reserved energy of humanity was properly utilized. Human energy is meant not exactly for fulfilling animal propensities, but for self-realization. The whole government was specifically designed to fulfill this particular purpose. As such, the king had to select properly the cabinet ministers, but not on the strength of voting background. The ministers, the military commanders, and even the ordinary soldiers were all selected by personal qualification, and the king had to supervise them properly before they were appointed to their respective posts. The king was especially vigilant to see that the pasvis, or persons who sacrificed everything for disseminating spiritual knowledge, were never disregarded. The king knew well that the Supreme Personality of Godhead never tolerates any insult to his unalloyed devotees. Such tapasvis were trusted leaders, even of the rogues and thieves, who would never disobey the orders of tapasvis. The king would give special protection to illiterates, the helpless, and widows of the state. Defense measures were arranged previous to any attack by the enemies. The taxing process was easy, and it was not meant for squandering, but for strengthening the reserve fund. The soldiers were recruited from all parts of the world, and they were trained for special duties. So I stop here. So this was a little bit, Srila Prabhupada explained about Raja Dharma. And here I have to point out that when King Yudhishthir came to Bhishma, this was like one of his main questions about his duties, because he was so despondent after the battle on the Kurukshetra, where like so many millions of men were slaughtered. So he considered himself guilty of all this, and nobody could pacify him until he came to Bhishma and started asking Bhishma for guidance or for his wisdom and advice. And Bhishma, he pacified him, and he gave him very detailed knowledge about how to be an ideal king, how to really rule the kingdom. So this is actually very, very exciting knowledge. But here is just very shortly given by Srila Prabhupada. So here are some points that Srila Prabhupada is stressing. So here is one point that Srila Prabhupada is stressing, and this is actually continuation from the previous Dana Dharma. Because in Dana Dharma, we see that the whole point is that one gives up that idea that one is the enjoyer and the controller, and that accepts the Supreme Lord accepts his shelter, and accepts his position as his servant. And here the first duty of the king, the saintly king, is that he is guiding all of his dependents, the entire country, towards the liberation, towards salvation. So he has to arrange different programs, different facilities, different structure that will enable the training of the entire population into this spiritual knowledge and spiritual understanding, so that they can all gradually become the devotees of the Lord. So this of course also means that he has to help establish Varnashrama Dharma, and then also especially give special protection to the tapasvis. Who are tapasvis? Tapasvis are those saintly people who have completely dedicated their life to service of God. Especially the highest tapasvis are the devotees of the Lord. So the king would maintain the brahmanas, and also the brahmanas, they never had to give any, they didn't have to pay taxes. They were exempt from taxes. On the other hand, the king would maintain them so that they could just serve. And also with the devotees, the king would give them special protection. And together with protecting the tapasvis and the devotees, the king would also give special protection to the weak section of the society. And here Prabhupada is especially, he's saying the illiterates, the helpless, and the widows. So especially the ladies who stay alone after their husbands have died. And we can see nowadays is such a degraded, really horrible situation in India. And it's especially, actually, it's visible in the holy places like Vrindavan. There are thousands of widows, very unfortunate widows, who have been thrown out on the street by their families just because they are widows. Their families blame them for the death of their husbands, and they just throw them out. This is such a degradation that it's only possible in Kali Yuga, because they actually have to be given protection. So the king especially has to take care of such helpless subjects. So then the next point here, the next point here is also that the king has to have exemplary character. It is very, very, very important. He has to be pious, he has to be religious, he has to be chivalrous and munificent. He has to manifest all these wonderful qualities. And it is also explained in other places in Srimad Bhagavatam, also here in this first canto, where it was explained during the rule of King Parikshit also. If the king has this exemplary character, then automatically the threefold miseries subside. All his subordinates, all the people in his country, they become free from the threefold miseries just because of the exemplary character and activities of the king. It is so important. So the king can immediately bring Satya Yuga in his country if he is really qualified by his qualities. So this also gives, like for us, it is so important that we really study, that we really very, very deeply study these points, and that we also installed Kshatriya College. I mean, there are already some attempts in ISKCON. There are some Varnashrama colleges now starting. So it's very important because there has to be specific training for a specific Varna, and especially for Kshatriyas, because they have such an important role to play in the entire society. Okay, we have 5 more minutes, so a few more things. So regarding the taxation, they were taking the tax, but it was no problem for people to give their due, because they were happy. They were rich, actually. They had everything in abundance. I mean, if the king is a real king, the proper king, the saintly king, then there is peace and prosperity, and all the citizens have everything in abundance. So it's no problem for them to give 1/4 of their riches to the king. And then the king, he is taking this by taxes, but then in the time of needs, and also as we were reading last time, when there are some special functions, then he will distribute charity profusely. He will give back to his citizens. So it's such a very nice reciprocation. Not that taxation just goes and disappears, who knows where, in a black hole. Nobody knows where it went. Nobody is accounted for it. And yet, the citizens are in their need of any improvement in the society. So it's not used for taxation for the benefit of the society nowadays. Okay, so... Yeah, and then last point, and then I will just open if maybe there is some question, comment, realization, or little discussion. So also, there's a lot of time Bhishma Deo devoted to explain to Yudhishthir how carefully he has to choose his people. How very important is that he has to get only people who are qualified to important posts of the government. Because if he gets corrupt people, then everything falls apart. And this is exactly what we are seeing nowadays. This corruption on all levels, from top to bottom, and at all levels of the government, there are corrupt people, and it's everything. It's a complete disaster then for everyone, except for few individuals who are filling up their pockets for some time until karma comes back. So I will stop here, and I would like to invite anything you would like to add or ask, or yes, question?
My understanding from this 50% is that you earn. My understanding from that 50% of giving a charity is like this: that what you earn, you first pay your rent, pay your food, pay everything, and what is left, this is 50% for saving and 50% for charity. I think it's like this, isn't it?
Yes, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense, yes. It makes sense.
Otherwise, you cannot survive.
Yes, otherwise you cannot survive.
Because, as I understood, is everything you cut away what you need, your needs, but for food, for renting, for everything, and then what is left, half is the savings and half is the charity.
Yes, although I remember there is, you can correct me, somebody, there is that example of Kulavechar Shekhar, who was, this is in Chaitanya Lila, who was extremely poor. He was extremely poor. So he was a poor of the poorest. So he was maintaining himself by selling the leaf cups and leaf plates made from the banana leaves. So, he would get like a few paisa a day. So this is like, I don't know, few cents, maybe €1, I don't know, something very, very small, practically nothing. And still, he would give half of this, he would give as a donation. So his example is different here. But we can have some discussion. Does somebody would like to add something to this? Yes?
Prabhupada had one terminology, it's called white elephant. You married a white elephant. It was a discussion for Indians who were marrying Western-bodied women which have a different lifestyle. And he said it's so expensive that it's actually like having a white elephant. And it's really hard to maintain it. Of course, maintaining a wife in India, in the simple Vedic terms, is really easy. In the Western term, it's like impossible. So it's kind of really interesting to take this in consideration.
I never heard about this one. Very interesting. But the point that you brought up, it is important. Yeah, the point is important because sometimes, I'm not saying always, but sometimes it is, the lifestyle that even devotees sometimes we may adopt may be such that we require so many things that are not really necessary, right? And then this takes, so much of hard-earned money. So the principle certainly here is also for Grihastha devotees to try to live in a simple way. As simple as possible. So when the living is simple, then, especially, ideally, so what Srila Prabhupada wanted, what was his desire, that the devotees would live out of the land, especially Grihasthas, that they would live in self-sufficient ways. Not so much that they would live in the cities and going to, taking jobs from non-devotees. We are still doing this, but it's not the best way. And we can also see there are actually so many aspects here that are very, very difficult. Just like one point, if the Grihasthas are like just working jobs, like living in the cities working jobs, then everyone is scattered around. So there is no real community because they don't live together. And just like see each other, once a week, like at the temple for the Sunday feast. That's like how practically is. Like many times, especially in bigger cities, like in America, you have a big city. Like I used to live, like many years ago, in Charlotte, in North America. And Charlotte is the capital of North Carolina. This city is so big that you're driving 2 hours from one side of the city to another side of the city. So imagine, then you have devotees spread all around. It's impossible to associate during the week in person. But if the devotees, the Grihasthas, live together in a community on the farm, then this is possible. The community is possible. The simple way of life is possible. But it is a very, very hard work. Because it's very, very difficult for us to change this conditioning that we have and live far away, from the city, from all the amenities the city can give us, and just live in a very simple way and work very hard with the land and with the animals. So we are definitely struggling with this, I can say. But it is a path that eventually we will have to go to, either voluntarily or being forced. If the Kali Yuga gradually comes to such a point that life in the cities becomes almost intolerable, this is also an option that may happen in the future. So I will stop here. You have another point? Or we have to go, we have to stop? One last point? Yeah.
It was mentioned here and many times that grihastas, they don't make so much austerities like the other ashrams, and that's why, because they're not doing the austerities of the other ashrams, that they are giving in charities to get the benefit of their spiritual progress and austerities. But it seems like in this Kali Yuga that grihastas are doing much more austerities than the other ashrams.
Yes.
And I'm also kind of thinking to myself, or my god brothers, it seems like they are having like 2 or 3 times more austerities, but then the different austerities to renounce your free will and actually surrender to Krishna and do what Krishna wants and not having your own thing and, you know, depending on Krishna. It's a different kind of austerity, it's not in the same level. But, you know, when you say austerities, can you comment on this maybe?
Yes, it's a very good point that you gave. Yes, it's not that grihastas are not performing austerities. They definitely are performing austerities, and very difficult austerities, especially in this day and time. But there is one thing, grihastas have allowance for sense gratification, which other 3 ashrams don't have. So grihastas have allowance for more bodily comfort. You know, they can live comfortably, they can have like their own home where everything is nicely decorated, and they can, you know, they have the association of their wife and children, like nice family life. This is all kind of comforts and satisfaction and sense enjoyment, actually, that is allowed in Grihastha ashram. They have this. While the other 3 ashrams, they don't have. So this, maybe I could correct myself, so that when I was saying these austerities, this is this is one of the greatest austerities in the other 3 ashrams is the renunciation of this kind of sense gratification, because the brahmacharis have to give up this idea. At least they are being trained, you know, to live in the family life, to live with the wife, to live with the children. Vanaprasthas are trying to become detached, and sannyasis, they are supposed to be already detached. So they don't have this kind of association. This is great austerity. It is great austerity, great penance. Yes?
Can you then explain, it seems like sannyasis are having more possibilities for sense enjoyment than grihastas today. How to explain that?
The sannyasis have, they may have the allurement, but they have to have sense control and real knowledge, because if they if they are not qualified to be sannyasis, if they don't have the sense gratification, then they can very easily fall down. So their sense control has to be even much, much higher than the self-control of the grihastha, because grihastha still, he has some allowance for sense gratification within the regulation of his grihastha life. But sannyasi, no, even the thoughts of sense gratification are detrimental for a sannyasi. He has to really work very strenuously to achieve the self-absorption in Krishna, absorption in spiritual topics. So he really has to, sannyasi really has to work on this point. This is very important. Then he can be very happy, very joyful, spiritually fulfilled, and at the same time guiding the other 3 ashrams on the spiritual path. Okay, so I stop here now. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for these very nice questions and discussions. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Accept my